Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Violet, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I'd like to share with you all of my curriculum choices for our second grade year. So let's get into it. First, I'd like to start with math. So for math, we have been doing Singapore Primary 2022. This is the newest edition. Since the first grade level. My daughter started the first grade level in kindergarten. She'd already finished Singapore's kindergarten math. She flew through it, and she's been working at a pretty steady pace since then. So she has already finished 3A completely. So the green one is the student book, just one student book for each semester. Red one is the home instructor's guide, and then she will finish, or she'll start this very soon, 3B, the second half of the third grade math. But first, in third grade, they introduced multiplication. So first we'll be going through this Kate Snow's multiplication facts that stick. My daughter has done Kate Snow's addition facts that stick and subtraction facts that stick. She liked them, and they helped her solidify all those addition and subtraction facts. So now we'll just be going through the multiplication facts book as well. It's pretty hefty. It has games. It has all kinds of stuff in there. My daughter particularly enjoys the games, so that's going really well as well. We just have done the first 2 weeks of that. For handwriting, we'll continue on with Zane or Bloser. In second grade, you have a choice with Zane or Bloser, whether you want to do an entirely manuscript year and really work on that more, or if you want to review all the manuscript and then jump into cursive. So my daughter chose to jump into cursive, and she's definitely ready for that. So the C is cursive, and then the 2M book would be just manuscript. So she enjoys learning to write fancy, as she calls it. There's the cursive script. It's pretty straightforward. It's just handwriting. For spelling, we use All About Spelling. We really, really like All About Spelling. Last year, for her first grade year, she did level 1 and 2 of All About Spelling. And then this year, she just finished level 3. She just finished it today, actually. And then we'll start level 4 next week, and we'll see how far we get. I keep expecting her to slow down the farther along we get in spelling, and she has slowed down a little bit, but not as much as I expected. So the next ELA subject I want to talk about is writing. For writing, we use Susan Wise Bauer's Writing with Ease. There are 2 ways you can do Writing with Ease. There's a set of workbooks that have all the work laid out for you, or there's this book, the Strong Fundamentals book, that guides you through what you need to do to choose your own literature selections to do all the writing exercises for 4 years. So this is for 1st through 4th grade. So we've been doing this. We've been using our literature selections to do all the writing exercises in this, and it's been going pretty well. My daughter doesn't necessarily love doing every single second of it, but she does it without much fuss, and I can definitely tell that it's solidifying a lot of her writing skills. So that's good. So I don't have a picture of it because it's all online. For literature, the literature that we pair with Writing with Ease, we actually use an online program. Well, it's not, the work isn't online, but all the book selections are online. Fish Tank ELA. I'll put a link to it in the description box. It's a charter school in Massachusetts, in Boston, has put all of their literature units online, and there's a free version that has discussion questions and things like that go along with the books. And then I think you can pay to have more things. We just use the book selections and then the discussion questions that go with it, and that's been going really well so far. We've enjoyed all the units we've done. We don't do every single unit, but we do most of them. We've enjoyed all of them. We're doing right now a unit on people who changed the world. So we're reading some really interesting biographies of mostly recent, like still alive people. No, I don't think any of them are, there's a few that are a little bit older than that, but most of them are pretty recent people. So that's really cool. Okay, so for grammar, to go along with Writing with Ease, we're doing First Language Lessons by Jessie Wise, who is Susan Wise Bauer's mother, I believe. And then this is the old edition, so it's levels 1 and 2 in one book, and it's just oral lessons. There are, starting in level 2, there are some writing lessons, but we just skip them because we use Writing with Ease for the writing. So it's all just oral, kind of going over some grammatical stuff. For us, it's mostly just about exposure and thinking about different parts of language and starting to talk about it. But these lessons are really short. My daughter likes doing them. They've been going really well for us. So those are all the main components of the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. So our next subject is science. We've been doing building foundations of scientific understanding by Bernard Nebel. We really, really like this book. I really like how all the lessons, the spiral around, and it builds a really strong, like it says, a really strong foundation in science. So we did the first half of this in first grade and the second half in second grade. You can spread it out over 3 years if we want to, but we chose to just do it in 2 years. My daughter loves science, and she's been flying through this as well. She really, really likes it. And we pair Magic School Bus episodes with this as well for a little bit of extra fun and reinforcement. For history, we're using History Quest's Middle Times. We did Ancient Times last year, and then we're doing Middle Times this year. So we've got the student text. We usually use the audiobook, so we only use the student text if my daughter wants to look something up afterwards. And then we've got the study guide with all the activities and extension books and everything. And then we also pair Lit House's, I'll link this in the description box as well. We pair Lit House's writing workbook with this. So I printed it out for my daughter, and she has just a quick little writing exercise that she either can write or she can just do it orally with me as well. They're all sentence level work for her level, to kind of help retention and make sure that she's understanding everything. So she will use this sometimes if she's answering some of those writing prompts. She doesn't remember how to spell something, or has no idea how to spell something because she's listening to the audiobook, or she forgot something. She'll just look it up quickly in this book. So that has been going really well. Both of my kids really like the history hops that are in History Quest, and they always enjoy listening to the audiobook. All right, so for art, we're doing Artistic Pursuits. These two volumes, I think it's volumes 3 and volume 4. So we did volume 1 and 2 last year. These come with DVDs inside. Not every lesson has a DVD lesson with it. A lot of them are just the projects that they explain in the book, but usually when they introduce a new media or a new technique, they'll have a video lesson of how to do it, which I really like because I like doing art, but I'm not like an art person. So having it all laid out for me with a little bit of art history mixed in there is really, really good. So my daughter just finished Middle Ages. We're about to start this Italian Renaissance one. And I always get the Rainbow Resource has the supply kits for these, and you can add the supply kit to your cart and then just remove any of the supplies you already have, which makes it really, really easy to make sure you have everything on hand already. All right, so the next thing I want to show you guys, the next thing I chose for this year, last year we studied the orchestra, and then ballets in music. Those are what my daughter really wanted to learn about. So this year we're doing kind of an overview of world music and then a little bit of the history of music. So this book is kind of the spine that we're using to do that, and then we're combining it with Carnegie Hall's Musical Explorers, which is an online program. I'll link it in the description box. It's excellent. It has a variety of artists from all over the world, and they each artist presents 2 lessons, and they're just really good. We really, really enjoy those. This book is good too. This is the old edition. So it has a CD with it, which we do have a CD player. It's one of the first things I bought when my kids got old enough to start doing audiobooks and things like that, because it's really easy to just have a cheap CD player, and then I'll buy CDs digitally and then just burn them to the CD, and then I don't have to worry about them breaking them or whatever. I can just burn another one. It doesn't matter. Although they're pretty gentle, I don't think they've broken a single CD. So we do use the CD with this, and that's been going pretty well. My daughter likes the Carnegie Hall Musical Explorers a lot better than listening to this book, but she doesn't hate this. This is fine. And it provides a good spine so that I make sure I'm covering everything that I want to cover in the year. So for health, we use an online program, Sanford Fit. I'll link it in the description box. And it is just, it's geared towards classroom teachers. It's free. It's geared towards classroom teachers. So we modify or skip a lot of the activities. It's a very light, broad overview of health, which is fine. I don't need a ton of health stuff for her right now. She's in second grade. And a lot of the kind of health topics that you introduce in second grade, we just talk about naturally through our day and all the things that we're doing. So I just do Sanford Fit to make sure I don't skip anything important. It has little PDFs for each lesson, and Sometimes it'll have an activity or a song that you can dance to or a little game you can play. All of the games don't work very well without a classroom, so we'll modify them a lot or just kind of come up with our own game. But that's fun. And then the other part of health that we're doing this year is my daughter started asking how babies are made. I had a baby this year, and so she was really curious about that. So I found a really, really good book. I believe it's called, I'll insert a picture of it. I believe it's called Making Babies. I'll link it in the description box below as well. But that book was a really good, just straightforward, solid introduction. It answered all of her questions, and that was great. And then for foreign language, my daughter actually attends an in-person heritage school. She takes Mandarin Chinese. So she goes once a week to the heritage school and they teach her Mandarin, and then she has homework throughout the week. And then she also does Mandarin on Duolingo as well. And then sometimes we'll watch YouTube videos in Mandarin, but that's really, I don't do a whole lot with that because they take care of that at Chinese school, which is excellent. All right, and then the last part of our homeschooling day is we usually do sort of like a morning basket, but ours does not happen in the morning. It's usually at lunchtime. I'll read to my kids while they're eating. I'm not a morning person. So in the morning, my kids will usually either listen to a podcast while they eat or maybe watch a really short educational TV show or something like that. But I don't really want to interact much right when I wake up. So breakfast time, I don't want to immediately start with a morning basket. That's just doesn't sound like a fun time to me. So we do our morning basket type thing at lunchtime. I have several different categories that I'll read something every day. And so the first thing that I always try to read every day is a poem. And we used this book last year. We're using it again this year, Sing a Song of Seasons. It has a nature poem for every day of the year. And it's really, really gorgeous. Some of them are short, some of them are long, some of them are in translation. Some of them are poems I've heard before, some of them are not. This is just a really, really good collection. They also have a new collection that's, well, actually, I don't know how new it is now. They have a collection that's all animals called Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright. That's an animal poem for each day of the year. And then their newest one is, I think it's called A Whale of a Time, and it's a funny poem for each day of the year. So I'm probably going to get Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright because I like animal poems. Not sure about Whale of a Time. I'm not a super silly person, and a lot of the time silly poetry just doesn't land well for me. So we'll check it out from the library and see what we think about that. And then the next thing that I try to cover every day is read something from every day, is some sort of social emotional learning topic. So I have a whole bunch of books that I have kind of planned for this year. This one we've already finished, Me and My Feelings, Kids' Guide to Understanding and Expressing Themselves. And it's geared towards slightly older kids than most of the rest of the SEL things that we do, because most of the SEL stuff I do is for both of my kids, so my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old. But this is really just for my 7-year-old. It has little quizzes and kind of descriptions of things they might encounter emotionally during the day. There was some stuff about school that doesn't really apply to us, but my daughter does go to Chinese school, so she's in a classroom sometimes. And I don't know how helpful she found it, but I thought it was really good. And then the other SEL thing we'll do, or now that we're done with that, we're working through Breathe Like a Bear, which is mindfulness activities for kids. Just very short, usually breathing exercises. And then once we're done with Breathe Like a Bear, I have the sequel, Peaceful Like a Panda, which is same thing, just more exercises. Or we might move over to reading these little spot books. My son especially loves these books. I don't necessarily love them. They get a bit repetitive, but we do have this box set. And then there are tons of these little spot books. We might get more from our library if he's really, really begging for more of those. The last two things that I try to read from, or there's three more things. So I try to read some sort of science book every day. So if there is a science book that's Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding has a book list. So if I have a book from that book list that relates to the lesson that I've checked out from the library, or we have it in our collection, I'll read that. If I don't have anything to read for science, then I'll read a selection from this book. So this is taking us quite a while to get through because we read a lot of books from Building Foundations. But this book is really, really nice. It has let's get a closer view of the table of contents. So the first section is all about what trees do, sort of a general overview of trees, parts of a tree, that kind of stuff. And then the second section is a profile of, not all of these trees are native to the US, but they're all trees that you can now find in the US, whether they're landscaping trees or they're like the cherry trees in Washington, D.C. that have been gifted to us, or whatever. These are all trees that you can find somewhere in the US now. And so they have a little description of the tree, picture of the tree, and then more detailed stuff if you want to try to identify the tree on your own. So we really have been enjoying this book. I wasn't sure if my kids would be into it, but they've actually surprisingly really enjoyed it, and they now ask me what trees are when we go on walks, and I don't always know. So we've been doing a lot of tree stuff this year. And then I like to also have a history book that I'm reading. If I don't have one for my daughter's History Quest, then I was reading this a lesson or a poem from this book. We finished this, and I haven't found anything to move on to from this for geography or history. History, my daughter doesn't hate it. Like, she really likes doing History Quest, but it's definitely not her favorite subject. So we've kind of just dropped this for now, which is fine. Maybe I'll find something for next year or later on in the year. And then the last thing that we do is a read aloud, and I don't have a stack of those to show you because I just checked them out from the library. So the first set of read alouds we did was the Heartwood Hotel series, and those are really, really cute. If you haven't checked those out, they're about a little mouse named Mona who comes, and it's like a found family story geared towards younger kids. My son doesn't usually like when I read aloud, but even he really enjoyed listening to Heartwood Hotel. So once we're done with those, I'm not sure what we're going to move on to next. I'll have to pull my kids and see what they want to read next. Thank you for watching today, and I hope you have a wonderful week. As always, I'm going to link everything I talked about today in the description box below. The Amazon links are affiliate links, so if you click on them and purchase something, I do receive a commission. Thank you for your support. Have a wonderful day.